lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on. I think
He missed the complete that. He's crazy
Side by side,
stuff.
Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Neagle.
It's not an old, sweet song coming sweet and clear like moonlight through the pines that has Georgia on the minds of sim racers today, but rather the dozen corners that compose Road Atlanta, which this afternoon plays host to round 2 of 7 on the Formula Neagle Season 9 schedule. Sanctioned by the Absolute Beginner League, with all the Skip Barber open wheel excitement from green flag to victory donut seen live as it happens here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. This quarter-hour streamy award-worthy pre-race show will count us down to when the lights go off on our field of series veterans and rookies alike will accelerate towards the sweeping first turn, starting the clock on this 45-minute contest. So bring cyberspace into your place, then ladle up a bowl of peanut soup, fix a glass of peach nectar on the rocks, and lastly plop yourself into your lazy boy and enjoy the simulated open-wheel action that will be streaming your way. From the Peach State, hello everyone, and welcome to another GSRC broadcast. I'm your host, Bill Soupson. Adam Young is on assignment, so back with us is Joe Peak. Turning the knobs and pushing the sliders is our director, Amjad Yaman, and at his disposal will be the camera locations provided by the Ansel Adams of iRacing, Dougie Beard. GSRC's coverage of Formula Neagle is made possible thanks to the good folks at ilovesimracing.co.uk, the home of your personal created button boxes. The Season 9 championship will win a custom-made button box from I Love Sim Racing. Sim Racing your way. And somebody who was having it his way at Montreal for Season 9 opener was the Fan Belt, Johan van de Velde, who sat on the pole ahead of 36 other drivers. The Wall of Champions wanted a few more names etched on it as it grabbed several drivers from the mid-pack, including Richard Katz and Michael Key in a big one. The reigning champ Errol Num got around the Fan Belt on lap 2, but the Fan Belt held tight until lap 16 when the wall struck again, ending Van de Velde's day. From then on, it was all the Roland Estolian as Num cruised to a win. Joe, the series leaves this tight, flat confines of Montreal to the rolling and more spacious digs of Road Atlanta.
Roland is right, Bill. If there's 3 things I had to pick to set this place apart, it'd be those rolling hills along with the multiple tricky and blind corners, and then, of course, the speed. For only being 2.5 miles with 12 turns, this place is scary fast. This place isn't known for having really close barriers, but even still, expect attrition and mistakes to gobble up a number of drivers in places like Turn 3 and Turn 5. And of course, then there's the infamous draft battles down the backstretch. The vast majority of passes are probably going to wait until the Turn 10 chicane at the bottom of the hill. In the end, Alright, we've got Amjad Yaman and the GSRC Skippy, so let's do a lap around Road Atlanta. Coming down to turn 1, it's a very fast right-hander that eventually rises uphill on exit. The high rate of speed means it's going to be pretty dangerous to attempt to pass into here, and you can expect to find the barriers in a hurry if one of you loses control. Now the track switches back and we have the very blind turn 3. This huge crest means that even as you're braking, you can't spot your apex until you're pretty much on top of it. Expect a few drivers to get cut course penalties when they get it wrong. From there, we've come to the S's. Thread the line and then hold as far right as you can for 5 without getting onto the curb so you don't unsettle the car. Things will really compress on turn-in, but then as you come out the exit, the top of the hill makes the car light. A consistent, smooth line will pay off with speed. Now we've got a bit of a moment as we drift left to set up for 6. This is our first passing zone of the track. This corner is deceptive because once again, we're heading uphill, but there's also a fair bit of banking, so the amount of speed you can carry is more than you'd expect. Before you know it though, you're into 7. Now this is absolutely the most important corner of the circuit. It's slow and sharp, but it dumps drivers onto the long backstretch. Botch your exit and you're going to be vulnerable the whole way down. Moreover, in these lesser powered cars, the draft plays a big role, so trying to safeguard yourself with a great launch will make life easier in defending. But if you are being attacked, the braking for the chicane is coming, so you have choices on defending. The switchback means the right or the left side is viable to try and hold position. The important part will be being late and precise on the brakes. From there, we head over the final crest and then let the car hold left. Then, without lifting, blast through the final corner while just grazing that inside curb, and make sure you don't drift too far outside and into the grass. If you hold it together, you finished a lap around Road Atlanta.
We apologize for that little audio gremlin. Joe is back with us now, and there you saw him do a recorded lap around Road Atlanta in the Skippy. Let's look at the points. After one race, the driver standings pretty much mirror the opening race results. The two most recent champs at the top, Errol Num, out in front for Bushfink Pink. Bushfink Greens, Johan Hallberg 3 points back. DBR's Russ David Burns sits third, and Privateer Pierce Shortfield Cocky is in fourth. Bushfink strikes again with another color as Ricardo Lard's yellow version rounds out the top five. Moving to the team standings. Now, when it comes to the team points, combining teammates' scores shakes things up a little bit here. Bushfink Pinks, Num's 20 points for winning was enough to put them in a tie for the lead with its sister yellow team manned by Allard and Jonas Blixt. Vincent Brame and Wojtek Podozek earned DBR2 Two Stupid Dogs a tie for third with Bushfinks Greens Hallberg and Frederick Neptune. David Burns' solo effort for DBR Russ rounds out the overlay. So, Joe, we've recapped the last race, took a trip around the track, talked about the driver and team points, but we're not done. Tell us a little bit about Formula Neagle and the race details.
Absolutely, and hopefully my internet plays nice this time. Obviously, of course, we mentioned our wonderful sponsor, ilovesimracing.co.uk, home for your personal created button boxes. And this is the 9th season that they are running the Formula Neagle Cup. Cars are going to be the Skip Barber Formula 2000, little open wheel cars. Not a lot of power, but they're pretty nimble, pretty light. This is round 2 of 7 this season. 4 of them are 45 minutes, and then 3 of them are 75 minutes. However, there are no dropped races. You got to get out there and you got to race all 7 races if you want to have a chance at the championship. And then, of course, we got the race details, Bill. These are open setup cars. There's not a lot you can do to them, though. I mean, there's only so many things that you can fiddle with since they're meant to be basic training tools at the Skip Barber Racing School. However, the fuel window is pretty large because they have the fuel limited to 65%, so expect a majority of the race to be open to these guys coming in. They have 3 qualifying laps by themselves out there. They're doing that right now. And then the race itself is 45 minutes today. Standing start, so these guys are going to have to be watching those green lights come on and be quick on the throttle. There is no live marshal out there, though, so if you get in trouble, it'll have to be taken care of post-race. Incident cap is 17 incidents, so you can't just wander all over wherever. You got to keep it clean. But there's also no fast repairs. So these guys, if they screw them up, if they have any sort of aero damage, expect them to be suffering down that long backstretch. And of course, the weather is dynamic out there today. In fact, looking at it, we got partly cloudy at 65 air temperature, pretty cool. And track is only 85 degrees, so pretty good day, pretty grippy, I'm sure.
Yeah, these skippies have a tendency to slide around on their own, so all the grip they can get is appreciated. Joe, there's a couple places on this track I want to talk more about, because I really love Road Atlanta. I love to race here. I love to call races here. The 2 places I want to talk about is the back straight, where we heard that the draft wasn't going to play so much of an effect, but I don't really believe that, and then turn 5. Let's first of all talk about the back straight going in that chicane. That's where a lot of the passing is going to be done.
Absolutely, and if anybody says that there's not a lot of passing there today, or not a lot of draft, I should say, I'm going to have to either assume that there's been something drastically changed in the bill that iRacing said, or maybe someone's read it wrong. But generally in these skippies, like I said, there's not a lot of power, and that means that whatever hold that they cut in the air, you really have to take advantage of it. And most of these guys are going to be kind of trying to set themselves up for the exit of turn 7 so that they get a good run, get as good of launch as they can, and either hang on to the tail of the guy in front or really use that draft to get up beside or even sometimes fully pass them by the time you're braking for turn 10. And that's why you see most of the passes happen there. It's straightforward. Even though it is a chicane, it's pretty wide open chicane, especially in these little cars. And so generally it's prone to it. It's sort of a perfect scenario.
And then turn 5, the I've crashed more times, and it seems like I can't make up my mind if I want to hit the wall on the right side or the wall on the left side.
Yeah, it's one of those things that seems really unassuming, and you would think that it wouldn't be difficult because it compresses as you come into it, but it's a combination of things. That compression, comes in with you braking and trying to turn at the same time, and then on top of it, when you hit the end of the corner, it crests. So that means all this grip that you had goes away. So where you think, oh, I can get on the power, which isn't really a problem in the Skippy so much. But just about any car, when you lose grip, you should be on the limit of grip if you're really pushing things. You're trying to get on the power, and the car is going to start to lose it. If you're oversteering, that's just going to exacerbate it. Like you said, it's going to send you to the left. If you're understeering, it's going to exacerbate that, and it's going to send you to the right. Or, if you're oversteering and you overcorrect it, that can send you to that outside wall on the right side as well. So if you like to say, where should I buy a ticket at turn 5 if you want to see some accidents, because there's going to be a few today.
Let's take a second and talk about the Absolute Beginner League, just as an overall view. We've been with this series now for probably 3 or 4 seasons, and it's really, Absolute Beginners is a bit of a misnomer, isn't it?
Oh my goodness. I haven't been able to race with guys like Iro Noom or Ricardo Lard, Bastian Hausman, these top runners. But just by looking at their times and their competitiveness, I can take a guess that they'd blow me out of the water. These guys up at the top are serious. But, it seems like a misnomer, but the reasoning why they call it Absolute Beginners is because they're trying to train people. They want drivers to come into this league and feel like, oh, I don't have to be those fast guys. They're going to help me get faster. They're going to teach me how to run in traffic, how to calculate pit stops, maximize pit entry, hit my marks, all the basics that you're going to run into in the more advanced leagues. So the Absolute Beginners more refers to being a friendly place where you don't have to be those top guys.
And I'll be honest with you, somehow this series has been able to avoid what has happened so many times when we cover something on GSRC. As the competition grows and the racing becomes more fierce, it seems to be that sometimes it seems to be a little more aggressive out there, and tempers seem to get shorter. I'll have to say that this series, the Formula Neagle, puts on one of the cleaner series, and I'm knock on wood here, maybe jinxing them here for Road Atlanta, but pretty much you can count on some good, clean racing all through the field.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a bit of hard racing, especially in the mid-pack. I mean, gosh, they've got, 24 guys out there, and they've had even bigger fields than that before. So you're going to get a little bit of banging together when you have bigger fields, but even considering the size of things, it's as we ride with Tuan Tran and the Mama Jean car here, it's pretty clean for the size of these fields, and like you said, for the mix of talent levels that they had. And that, I think, is a testament, like I said, to them teaching and training people. When people come in, they try to, tell them, like, hey, you don't need to be racing like it's the final lap in that first corner. You've got to make sure and get through all the chaos of the start, and then you'll have plenty of opportunities both with the draft of these cars and most tracks, and the ability to really follow closely since they're not downforce cars. These cars are great for door-to-door racing.
Well, Joe, since you're back, let's go ahead and move on to one of the fan favorite segments in the pre-race show. And now, the debate has raged on at the GSRC campus on whether to rename this segment. But since you're back here, we're going to keep it Peaks Podium Picks. Joe, show everybody how to do this. Go ahead, make your picks for the podium today.
All right, we're going to try again. Noom, he won the first round, and he's been looking really good for the last 2.5 seasons. I'm going to say Noom for the win again. Even though Ricardo Lard's currently sitting in second on the... now he was sitting in second, but Tuan Tran has moved himself up there, and that actually changes things for him. Actually, I think Tran, with him putting himself on pole, I think I'm going to go with Tran for second because he was looking good in practice. And then for third, I think I'm going to have to go with a fan belt. I think he's going to redeem himself.
Well, there you go. We're going to go with Tran, Noom, and then Vanderbilt. We're going to leave out there. Allard's not in there. Burns and Cocky. Let's talk a little bit here before we go to the grid. David Burns has been really, really, really picking up the pace lately. So if you guys want somebody to pull for, there's a driver to keep an eye on. Of course, Ricardo Lard is notorious for getting podiums. Very, very consistent. All right, the grid is just about ready to come up here. It's going to be a standing start today. About 35 drivers were able to put in qualifying times. I think 38 names on the list. of entry lists, and they're just wrapping it up right now. I hear Vanderbilt, Johan coming over, giving the drivers the last little bit of coaching. Good day for racing here at Road Atlanta. 7 rounds. This is round 2. Waiting for the grid to come up right now. If I think, Director, if you're able to bring it up, we can go ahead and go through it here. Look on the top road. Joe talked about it. Now, that's your Season 6 champion, Tuan Tran, on the inside. Outside of him, your Season 7 champion, Errol Num. Ricardo Lard sits on the inside of row 2. David Burns on the outside. Third row's made up of Pierce Shortfield Cocky. Hopefully he can get his fuel right. David Vanderbilt on the outside. Row 4, Johan Hallberg. There's your defending champion, Bastian Huisman, in 8th position. Votek Podozek and Mikael Ingstrom make up row 5. Joe?
Jonas Blix a little bit farther down. We're used to seeing him in 11th. Scott Brazier starting in 12th, followed by Adrian Cruz. The Bulldog in 13th. Vincent Brame, he's going to be starting in 14th position, followed by Mark Figueres in 15th. Then we've got Eric Lukel starting in 16th, followed by Liam Quinn in 17th. Joachim Lundgren, also farther down than we're used to seeing, in 18th. Cooper Collier in 19th, and Frederick Neptune in 20th.
21st position is Adam Bradshaw and M. Van Kundehout out there in the 11th position, outside of row 11. Hendrik Tobias Bergman in the inside of row 12. Damian Noble outside him. 13 is made up of Rodrigo Completo Ferraris. I can't read those as they get tangled up into the scores there a little bit. Robert Van Inkeking. Boy, I got the fun ones, Joe. Michael Parks down here in 14th. Ricard Colomb, we know him. Reno Tanny in the inside of row 15th, and Richard Katz in the 30th position.
And we're running out of time. So Thomas Kick in 31st, John Brzezin in 32nd, Michael Key 33rd, John Christophe Portier 34th, Kevin Mills 35th, and that's our grid.
We got it done. Gather up the chicken steak, cover behind the cows, because the horses are out of the barn, and your Season 6 champion, Tuan Tran, leads a field of 35-plus drivers down. We got problems in the back. It looks like one car didn't get rolling. It was the newcomer Van Koppenhout. Actually stopped on the track like he couldn't get the car in gear.
And it looks like we've also got Adam Bradshaw stopped on the inside, and Richard Kaz had a trouble in turn 1, just a bit of a spin, but nobody hit him.
Up front, it looks pretty good. It's Tran with Nome behind him, Allard in third, Burns and Vanderbilt. They pretty much run as they qualified. The back half of the top 10, Cocky, Hallberg, Hausman, Podozek, and Ingstrom.
Everybody making it through 3 and 5 fine, so good to see that. Now up through 6. A lot of banking in this corner, Bill. Surprising amount of banking.
Nice single file all the way back through the top 20 as they negotiate now around 6 through 7, and they're going to take their first shot down this long back straight. Let's see who wants to make a pass here. Let's see who wants to lay back.
Well, Noom isn't laying back. He's already challenging around the outside of Tran. The question is he going to be fully passed? Can he outbreak him into the chicane? And they've got a battle for third as well.
New leader is Noom, gets it done. Tran drops into second. Allard able to hold off third. Burns and Vanderbilt back there. Everybody running single file behind them. But your new leader, well, actually, he's going to be the only leader so far, as Tran's not going to get credit with leading that first lap, as he's not going to do it across the start-finish line, is your Season 7 champion, Errol Noom.
And we had some contact. Wojciech Podozek, and I'm trying to figure out who the other one was. I think Ingstrom, maybe? Yes, Mikael Ingstrom came together into chicane.
That replay's going to come up. There we go.
Oh, and it looks like they touched twice. Once on entry, you'll see it here as Ingstrom slides it up the inside, and then a second touch. And I think they were both damaged enough. Ingstrom is slow, and the other car went into the pits. So not a good start for those two. That's going to set them back. Remember, no free repairs, so when they're damaged, they got to hope that the pit crew can bang away on them enough to get them going straight.
And with a 7-round series and no dropped races, every mistake hurts. Meanwhile, back up front, things remain the same. Let's talk about the pit window here. They run 65% no matter if it's one of their 70-minute endurance races or the 45-minute sprints. Since we're 45 minutes today, that means we're going to have a really large pit window. Some drivers are saying it could be as early as 6 minutes into the race. And right now, let's look at third position, as that's Allard being challenged. David Burns trying to look to the inside. Now, this is He'll have the inside here through the first part of the chicane. Actually, he finishes the job before he has the right-hander. So new driver in third, David Burns.
Nicely done. Now, I'm not sure if we want to. It sounds like we do have a replay of Van Kampenhout and his non-start, if you want to call it a start.
Yeah, it was almost like he had a technical, couldn't get the car. He started rolling a little up. Nope, we're looking. There we go. Oh, maybe he blew an engine or...
No, he gets it rolling. My guess is that he just didn't have the clutch pulled in. And there he gets clipped a little bit by one person, maybe a second one. Wow, he's very lucky because he had maybe half the field come by him.
Almost looked like the standing start at the Indianapolis in the IndyCar race a few seasons back before they decided to drop that idea. Up in front. Now, this is what, if you're not a fan of this series or haven't been following what's going on, Num is very fast, and he's your leader. What has been the case is everybody wants to try to tag onto the back end, make sure they're in the draft. The story for many of these races is everything goes fine until some of the drivers, like in third or fourth, make a mistake, and then that train gets a lot shorter. Right now, that train goes all the way back to 8th position, Bastian Hausmann. 8 cars out in front, all hooked up.
Yeah, what's interesting about this, Bill, is that when you have this train at the start, it's sort of a balancing act as we see Tran get a run once again, and he's going to make the pass. That you've got to be aggressive because you have to be at least up in the top 4, I would say. Otherwise, it's more likely that you're going to be on part of the train that breaks off and starts to slip back. But at the same time, you don't want to be too aggressive. You don't want to be too crazy at the start and put yourself in a risky scenario because we've still got 40 minutes left. Look at the clock. We've still got so much to go that you don't need to be making ridiculous moves.
Now here we go. This is Num coming back right at Tran. Num clearly not worried about fuel right now. He's out in front. He's happy to be out in front. And you say, well, what do you mean he's not worried about fuel? Look at Tran coming back on him now. The over-under, over-under. These guys are really going at it. We want to get it sorted out while they're through here.
Oh, no. A little bit of contact. But wow, look at Num make the move around the outside of 3. That is not easy. I was about to say, guys, you can't go too wide through 3, but they made it work, just barely.
Yeah, now they all start, there's not a problem with fuel. It's just a matter of how much fuel you'll need to take when you come in, and you can save some, which means if you're running back there third, fourth position, you might need a little less when it's your time to come in.
Wow, I can't believe they went too wide through 1 and then too wide through 3. Remember what I said about not needing to make ridiculous moves? Well, these guys aren't listening to that side of the argument.
Boy, from that camera angle that you saw there, that Dougie Beer camera angle, you can really see the accordion effect there as the cars all bunch in as they dive into the corner, and then they pull away when they get on out to the stretch. Again, an eight-car train up front. Go ahead, Joe.
These are the skilled guys. They know just how close they can get to that guy in front with the braking. And that's what you saw there with that accordion, as it looks like Tran takes it one more time.
Yeah, well, he did this before. He gets it done here, but the Roland Estonian is not scared to come back on him down the main straight. Let's see if he does it one more time as they work this final corner. This time he's going on the inside. Here goes Aero Num. Gets it done much earlier. That's interesting. They could be testing a little bit for what's going to happen on the last lap. Num comes across the nose of Tran. Tran's going to duck back underneath. My goodness,
here
what
we go
great
again.
racing up front.
Still side by side down in a 1. That is a very fast corner. There is some compression on the exit to help. And it looks like Num's going to get it, coming down to 3. So slot Tran back into second as they all go single file. Yeah, it's interesting, Bill. One of the trade-offs that you have with that chicane that you're seeing here is that sometimes when you make the pass, you can't get a good enough exit off the second half, and you see the guy come back at him. I pulled that move myself, and you're right. I wonder if maybe Nam's kind of tucking that information away and thinking, yeah, maybe I want to be in first coming down the backstretch.
Or at least you have some plan B if you do get past, if you're out in front, at least you got a shot at it. He got that done really quick before the start-finish line. So keep that in mind if we get a 2-car battle near the end of the race. Hey, Johan Vanderbilt dropped down a little bit. I'm sorry, it was Johan Hallberg dropped down now into 6th position, just ahead of Vanderbilt, and Bastian Hausmann running out that 8-car train.
Yeah, Hallberg, Vanderbilt, and Hausmann are dropping back just a little bit. They could still hold up onto these guys if they go side by side through some of these corners, but it looks like other than Nam and Tran, everybody else is kind of staying single file behind them.
Tran decides he's seen enough of that being passed and then repassing on the straight. He's going to stay behind. Let's see if he decides to do what Num did on him the last couple times. Says, let me try this one here as he tucks in behind. Now, this is going to be interesting because this 8-car train is coming off behind Michael Key. Poor Michael. Here comes Tran now. But again, Num has no problem going wide on through turn 1, so Tran's going to back out.
Yeah, man, he was right up on that rear wing. I'm amazed that he didn't touch. He knows exactly the limits of the car, it seems like. And look at this top pack, really starting to stretch away. Still have that break to the guys behind, even after the backstretch. So they're gaining a little bit here down the hill. They might be able to get back up to them if they get close enough through 5. And they're coming up on traffic. That might split things up quite a bit. Michael Key gets out of the way.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for Key. He not only had to get out of the way of 1 car, 2 cars. How about 8 cars?
Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4. And he stays the outside.
Yeah.
Nicely done, Michael.
That's not pleasant. That is not pleasant.
He made the absolute best out of that, though. He held his line, and he slowed just enough that everybody behind isn't going to be rushing up behind him, but they can see, hey, this guy's just going to give us the inside.
Okay, Joe, do me a favor. Why don't you keep an eye up the lead there and let me know what's going on. We're going to talk about some of the drivers we haven't talked about yet. Let's go back to 9th position. Adrian Garcia Cruz right now in a battle with that Jonas Blix is going to make that battle for 9th. That's Blix on the inside as they come up to the chicane. Watching the whole thing is Mr. Excitement, Liam Quinn. Looks like Blix is going to get 10th. Nope. Let's stay on this for a second, directors. They're going to get this sorted out. There we go. It looks like Blix is going to get 10th. Cruz is going to drop back, or 9th. Cruz is going to drop into 10th and Liam Quinn into 11th. A little farther back, running in 12th, is Scott Brazier. Now, Brazier is the teammate of Gnome, so any points he can pick up will help Bushfink Pink. Joachim Lung, go ahead, Joe.
Cruz is coming back at Blixt, actually, on the inside, down into 1. He's pulling the move that we saw the leaders are doing, and he gets it clear by the time they come out of the exit.
Some good racing going in there for that final, the back of the top 10.
And this is why I've started calling Cruz the Bulldog. He just does not give up. He doesn't care, what your reputation is, what your strategy is. He is going to fight for every position he can.
We've seen him race. We've seen him race up front a few times when he's been good. Yeah, he is quite the competitor. Stay on that 3-car battle. Look at that there.
Heading up to turn 6 here. And who is that ahead of them? Is that Houseman just ahead? Or is that, no, that might
I think that might be
Key.
Michael Key, yeah.
So they're going to be lapping him soon as well. Now, meanwhile, our top 4 are getting very close to one another, and here goes Tran once again, and there's a 3-wide situation behind them, too.
Yeah, that's Vanderbilt out in front now. Starting with Hallberg on the inside. Stuck on the outside is Cocky. Hallberg and Cocky side by side. Hallberg's going to get the best of that. Cocky drops back into 7th position. But they better be careful because they're starting to lose touch with Allard. It's about a second back from Allard to Vanderbilt.
And I wonder if that's why we're seeing them race more aggressively. That's the first time I can think that we saw 3 wide down the backstretch with these guys is, all of them are thinking, I'm faster than you, so I'm going to get to the front, and then I'm going to go catch those guys. Well, everybody keeps thinking that, and everybody keeps fighting, and they all lose.
Look, Joe, you got the hiccups again there. You may want to... Now you're back. There you go. We lost Joe a little bit. Yeah. But luckily, it's only a second. That's probably not far enough to pull away if they start to behave. In fact, as I say that, look at that. Vanderbilt now has caught right back up to Allard, well within the draft here as they work through the scariest corner of the track 5, which so far hasn't bit anybody yet. Kind of overhyped corner 5 so far as they work on lap number 8 right now. But remember, lap times, the lap that they're on really doesn't matter as we're on a 45-minute race. Nobody has come in for a pit stop, at least of the guys up front. We ride on board now with Johan Vanderbilt. Now we get away from him. Love that camera angle that's sitting right under the nose of the car. Really gives you a feeling of speed. Tuan Tran out in front. Let's go ahead and look at this lead as ducking to the inside now. Vanderbilt's Gnome's going to get this done. And behind them as well, it's Burns again with Allard. Allard's going to go up into 3rd. Can he get a woed up before he gets into the back of Tran? He does.
Yeah, I keep wondering when we're going to see Allard really become a force in the championship. We've seen him in a number of races where he gets up in the mix, he's a threat for the win, but it seems like he just can never either have the luck or the strategy to get himself with enough wins to be up front enough. Meanwhile, behind them, battle going on for fourth as Vandenbeld takes it.
And of course, we talk a lot about the team champions. I'm going to make a point to try to emphasize that this season. Right now, you have Bushfink Pink up there in front. There's a Mama Jean Racing of Tuan Tran running in second position. Then another Bushfink. I think Allard runs for Bushfink Yellow. Then Vandenbeld looking on his there. If we can see what team he runs for, it should say on our timing. It's going DBR Team Talent, not up in the top 5 right now.
Yeah, it almost feels like Bushfink has become the Red Bull of this series. You know, they've got every team that they could ever want, and they're just going to use their numbers.
Not only in this series, but they are making inroads into many different forms of racing.
Now.
Yeah.
But this battle up at the front has been fascinating, and this is exactly what we expected, Bill, is that it's going to be strategic. And here comes Ironome once again up the inside of Tran. This looks exciting, but it's a, you know, we always compare it to like, this is the Talladega of road racing, that you can't really count on who's in the lead at any one point other than maybe them staying out of trouble. Oh, and what happened to Hallberg?
Looks like he got into it with Cocky got into him, I believe. Going through the chicane. They were going to be 3 wide, and actually before they got 3 wide, Cocky got into the back of Hallberg.
Yeah, Cocky, you can see in the replay, he did not expect them to slow up that quickly, and he just clipped the left rear tire, it looks like. Let's look on board Cocky and see what it's like from his perspective. He was just offline. He shouldn't have been in any marbles or anything, but maybe there just wasn't as much grip there. And then braking a little bit earlier, being side by side there, you can see just comes, he's so close behind them, he does not have time to react. You got to be careful in the braking zone. I always just lift a little early when I'm that close to a guy.
That was Burns on the high side that got away clean. Now the question is Burns see, now this is what we talked about. This is where the train starts to break up. Now we're down to a 4-car train, as Burns is really going to have to work to get up to the back of Vandenbeld. 1.9 second the gap right now.
And for what it's worth, Piers did get onto the text chat, and he was apologizing to Johan. Unfortunately, I think Johan left before he got there. Well, so there were 4, Bill. Oh, and are they going to? Well, I thought they were going to go 3 wide for the lead there for a second.
They are playing, but what now has happened? We talked about it. The Bushfink Yellow driver, Ricardo Allard, has gotten around Tran. This is the first time Tran has been as far back as 3rd. As Allard has gotten around, I'm going to see if he can follow his cousin Bushfink team of Ironome.
Looks like they're just going to stay in line. Meanwhile, it sounds like we've got a great battle for 14th or 15th. Some contact between Figueres and Eric Lukel down in the chicane, just barely. That was, we're going to see if we can get the replay here. That was Figueres coming up on Lukel, coming from way far back. You're going to see here down the hill. Way far back, just a little bit of a tip.
Oh.
And I think Lukel got away with it. Figueres, though, I think he might have damaged his car in that.
We look at Mark Figueres right there, running in 17th spot.
Looks like just a little bit of front wing damage. I'm not sure if he actually touched to the wheel. That's the big thing that you got to worry about. You do have to worry about the aero on a place like this, Bill, but if you damage your suspension in these cars, they're not super stiffly sprung, but you need every little advantage that you can because everything is so marginal around here.
Let's go to 10th place real quick. Joachim Lundgren in a battle. This is Bergier making a move on the outside. These guys are side by side now coming down into the chicane. Bergier's going to have he's not going to have the preferred position on the first part of the chicane, but he will have the preferred part on the second part. Let's see how these guys do it. Looks
and I
like
think
Lundgren's going to
Lundgren
back
left.
out.
Yeah, he lifted. But that's a good point, Bill. Yeah, you can defend from the outside, but you got to have a lot of trust in your competitor, because if they wash out, you can be all the way over. We saw this in the Autobahn series last week. The other guy can wash out even if you're all the way to the edges of the track, and next thing you know, you're getting slammed into and you're wrecked. So you need to know that your competitor can hold the line.
As Lundgren gets back around. We're not missing anything up front. Although we seem to maybe we should go up front real quick, because it looks like Johan Vanderbilt, the fan belt, having trouble hanging on to the back of Allard. This is now beginning to turn into a 3-car train.
It's like a little brother in a Christmas story.
Yeah.
Wait for me, guys.
Yeah. I wonder if maybe the tires start to go away and it gets a little tougher to hang in there. He should be close enough now to get back up. It's about a second gap from Allard to Vanderbilt.
The draft is pretty strong. You do start to pull in. He's far enough back that it's probably right on the cusp that it's going to give him that extra lap time, but it really isn't going to pull him far enough ahead, as we had a 3 wide. Who's that they're lapping? Luigi Graffini. What a name. That is a great racing name right there.
I love that one. Come on, Luigi. You got to stay with me the whole season. Does a good job of actually almost cuts the course probably to get out of the way, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, sometimes that's something where he's trying to get out of the way, and you can't do that if you have the inside of a corner. If you've got the inside of a corner, just run your normal pace. Otherwise, you're making things worse. So, I don't know. He was doing great on the straight, but then when he got to the corner, he really should have just come back to the line, maybe.
Luigi running 35th. So it's Tran, Allard, and then Vanderbilt running 2, 3, and 4. You see on screen right now, still able to hang on to the back of the Roland Estonian, Errol Num.
Sounds like we got some pit stops. Engstrom is headed in. Frederick Neptune has headed in. They're coming up to their stalls. And you got to. This is something you got to practice, Bill. If you don't hit your stall just right, because these guys are, measuring things down to the 10th of a gallon in these cars on the fuel. That every little bit counts. So if you can maximize that entry into your pit stall coming as fast as you can and really nail your mark, you're going to gain time.
And one of the things we're going to try to emphasize this season on the GSRC, our coverage of this, is the team championship. And we looked at Frederick Neptune coming in. He's the teammate of, I believe it's Hallberg, if I can check my notes correctly. So even those back markers back there running 13th to 14th, when the team championship is so close, every position from those guys help.
Neptune gets going as we switch back to Blixt, who's still in a battle with the Bulldog.
None of our leaders really have come into pit yet of any of the front runners.
What's interesting in this battle is that they've got Liam Quinn kind of hanging back there in 9th, in that infamous popcorn position, just kind of waiting and watching to see what these two do. Oh, and it looks like one of them is pitting. Blixt.
Blixt coming in.
Let's see who is our highest pitter. It looks like Engstrom really is our highest pitter right now, as not a lot of guys have come in. Blixt finally comes to his stall and hits it.
And why his position is so important, he's a teammate of Bushfink Yellow drivers, Ricard Allard. So again, all those positions count in the team championship.
And actually, I wonder if this is going to be close between Blixt and Engstrom. Nope, not quite. Blixt is coming out, and he's got quite a bit of a gap to that. Alrighty, we've switched back up the lead to Tuan Tran. These two still have about a train of 3, but Allard is starting to lose them.
There we go, and right behind them, we didn't catch it on screen, was Burns got around Vanderbilt. Now, Burns is worried about losing contact with Allard. Oh, it's up to 3 seconds back to, in fact, Allard has come, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, we have pits. Here we go. Allard is in, Noma's in.
Leaders are in.
Tran stays out. Don't be surprised if Tran doesn't run. We've seen him do this before. Run it until it's on fumes.
Hey, I don't know about this strategy. In a twistier course, this might be a good
Maybe,
idea. Yeah, because he wouldn't have to be fighting with them. But the drafts, you saw them swapping back and forth pretty well up at the lead, and that can make you faster if you slingshot and time it right.
So all the leaders except for Trent is in. Oh, I'm sorry, Burns has stayed out as well. Well, so did Vanderbilt. So really only we have Noom that came in and Allard. They come out together.
So I wonder if that's intentional. Newman and Allard aren't teammates, though, are they?
Well, they're bush finkers. It depends. I
Okay.
don't know how close
Well,
that
because
they are.
you remember what I was talking about? You know, it might be better to not be by yourself. I wonder if that's a team call saying, "Hey, let's get our swim buddy, and let's make sure that we have someone that we come in together with, and we can keep swapping back and forth."
Well, you know it might be because of the top 5. Those were the only 2 bush fink drivers in there, so those were their only friends.
Meanwhile, watching this battle with Vanderbilt and Burns, as it looks like Vanderbilt's going to get it easily down to the chicane. One more swap of position. Are these guys going to come in?
And I think that's what Joe was just talking about. I think you saw it there where that slingshot, that little leapfrog, and they're only going to...
All right, this is going to be interesting. Tran in his
There we
pit
go.
stall. Can't miss him with those bright yellow rims. Bright yellow and purple. It's almost like someone who's colorblind painted that car.
There is a history behind that. We had Mama Jean had a nice silver car, and then she came back saying, "I can't see it," so we came back with something a little more.
Okay.
Let's see if we can pick up Num right now as Tran is starting to roll. There you can see Num just coming to you. Look at that right there. It's
Ooh.
going to be close. If you can get the momentum up, I think it's going to be good enough for him to at least tuck in with these boys.
Look at that. Everybody is on point with these top 4. There is nothing between them. That tells you everybody nailed everything about their pit stops. That or they all got it wrong, but I think the other is more likely.
Well, we heard in the pre-race from our director, did a little research, that a lot of these guys are using secondary software to calculate their fuel strategy. So it gets more scientific every race.
And we had a big accident with Jean-Christophe Bourdais, I think is how it's pronounced. It was just coming up through the S's maybe about 40 seconds ago.
Yeah, I think he came up a little fast behind Kevin Mills and kind of scared himself. Just
There's
a little
the
farther
tail
back.
end of it. Yeah, just started to lose it. And these cars have what's called lift throttle oversteer. And what that means is when you lift the throttle, the natural engine braking means that the rear wants to come around on you. You can see it right here. When he lifts coming around down the hill, that is the absolute worst spot. You're supposed to be full throttle there, and there was no saving it.
So your leaders right now, maybe we can go to them, give them a little love. David Burns out in front, followed by Vanderbilt. Now those 2 guys could stay out there for a while. If they've been swapping back and forth, if they're happy with their lap times, they say, let's see if we can run as fast as the guys back there. They'll be watching the interval back to Noam, Tren, and Allard. Noam running an 8th overall right now.
Now, unless they found something magical, I don't expect them to suddenly leapfrog up to this top group. But, you know, it's not impossible. We could try and maybe take a look at the lap times and see what they're running in comparison once they get a couple in.
And I think I have big news here as we go back to, we're going to leave this for a second, we go back to 8th position. Errol Num has gapped Tran and Allard, so I'm afraid that maybe when the pit cycle is done, we might have a lone leader out there.
Meanwhile, battle for what is currently the lead, but will change once these guys come in for their pit stops. Vanderbilt up to the front, Burns into second. And there's no bonus points for leading a lap, right? Is that correct?
There are none. But keep in mind that those guys are both cousin teams as well. That's DBR Team Talent and DBR Rust going at each other, and they're going to come in together.
There they go. So that's going to give it to Bastian Hausman. He's not going to lead this lap, but he's going to inherit the lead.
There you go, and you can see the Mama Jean colors there for him. Running up there should be a good day for Mama Jean with Tran doing well.
Now, what's
Did a little-
interesting is,
Go ahead.
Adrian Cruz has now slotted up into second. He's another late pitter, but even still, this is a nice run from him. Oh, and what's happened on the front stretch? Is that Tran? Whoa, and he almost gets hit. Let's see what happened in the replay. This is around 12. Not easy to save it. Oh, he lifted. Or did he run into someone? It's Ricard Allard. That's another one of our top contenders. What did I tell you about Allard's bad luck? Was this maybe some net code? Because he hit him and then suddenly it's almost like he popped up into the air. Not. Maybe that's just the way the tires behave now when you make contact. I've almost never seen something like that.
Well, looking at it, I don't see any net code. It looks like he got into the back of Allard, turned him around, and then when he T-boned him, Allard started to roll. Here, you can see it here. That's a pretty good view.
Well, we've seen Tuan Tran has cut it very, very close, coming out of that corner, trying to come up behind someone with the draft. I wonder if it just finally bit him.
I think that was a little bit of the pressure as Nome was starting to pull away. I think they said, we got to get going. Tran trying to get every second.
But we're coming down to the final third of the race. 16 minutes to go, Bill. So it is go time. Most of these guys have now run their pit stops.
And just to follow up, Num is the leader of all the cars who have pitted, and he's considerably out in front of his competition, Vanderbilt and Burns.
Yeah, at this point, Nome just has lap traffic around himself. And let's see, Vanderbilt looks like maybe 4 seconds back. It's quite a gap.
Yeah, I can actually, 5.2 is what my timing and scoring is saying. So, yeah, he got, it started to go away from him there. They broke the draft, and once again, the Roland Estonian shows that he is good. They try to hang with him as long as they can, but in the end, the cream rises.
You know, you can try to say that, you know, there's luck and there's all these other different things, but after a certain amount of wins, especially for a guy like Noom, you have to say, you just put your hands up and say, he's got it down.
So we look at him there. Now behind them, this is Bergier and Lupel. Now these guys are in a battle. There looks like 6th and 7th, but these guys have yet to make their pit stops. Your leader, though, is still, maybe we should give him a little love. Your leader is Bastian Hausman.
Yeah, he continues on for a whole nother lap in that Mama Jane car. Now, what's interesting is Brazier Noom's teammates? Is that what I'm seeing on screen?
Yes, they are. Those are for Bushfink Pink.
So this might be intentional, him letting him hold on to him for a second.
And Bushfink Pink won the championship last season, and one of the main reasons is the Scott Bergier really came on strong at the end and scored enough points as the second driver to push that team over the top.
It is a team effort. See that a few more drivers coming in for their stops. Rodrigo Ferreira. Not sure. Sorry about that last name.
Hausman, Cruz, Quinn, and Lundgren, the only cars up front that have yet to pit. And what's interesting is Lundgren is right now just ahead of Errol Noom.
Boy, that's one of those moments where you can't really think about what's happening around you too much, because if Lundgren looks in his mirrors and realizes the leader had an entire pit stop ahead of me, that mentally weighs on you. You just got to focus on your race.
Balance this thing up, make it a little more competitive. They just give like the guys in the back a full load of gas. Because apparently Arrow can come and get the stop made and still get around him, as now Noam moves up into 4th position.
I don't think we've seen a one-stopper yet, have we? We've seen it very close.
No, we've seen Tran really try to, when he gets in behind and tries to coast around. Let's go back How about real quick, Director? How about 12th position? Little batter here from Jonas Blix and a newcomer, Cooper Collier. Oh, you know, it's a little misleading as Cooper hasn't come in for a pit stop yet.
Nice paint scheme on that car, though. I dig that. Has sort of a early 90s feel to it.
It does, really. Throwback.
But still, Cooper's doing a nice job out there today, running in 13th. Like you said, still has to pit, so it's going to slot him back a little bit, but a lot of the drivers behind him have also pit, and he's got quite a gap to most of them, so I think he's still going to slot in. He's looking at the top 20.
Well, let's give a little up, drop back to 14th position. These two drivers still need to pit, but they are racing for position, and that's Michael Parks running in 14th. That'll be considerably farther back once he makes the stop. In there with Damian Noble.
Nothing happening right now, but it might erupt once they come around 7 here. Really got to back this corner up and get on the power as soon as you can. Look at that. Noble with a great run. Almost actually a little too soon because now he can't. Yeah, he had to back out of it actually and get back into the draft.
He still may have time, though. He pulled him back earlier enough. He's still going to get a run. Now, boy, he does a nice job of pulling out real close behind Parks.
Side
and you can make it work from out there if you can trust that Noble's going to give you room.
Let's see what he does.
Nope, they touch. Oh. And maybe it might be time to come into the pits. Nope, okay. He doesn't know where he's going now. Whoa.
Got away with it, but just barely. That was tight. Meanwhile, I understand that Cruz has come in and out in the meantime. Henrik Bergman, he is in his pit stall taking his stop. Of the top 5, we still have 4 cars who have yet to pit, though. A lot of guys employing a very long strategy.
Bergman is rolling. He's going to lose positions there. Going to cycle out in about in 20th spot.
10 minutes to go now. And Hausman is still cycling around. Let's see if he comes in this time. There he goes.
Now this
slow car in front of him, though.
Whoa! He's got to get around Richard Katz up there now. They all settle down.
Boy, Hausman came in very hot, but he timed it right. You got to be careful with that pit entry, Bill, because it weaves back and forth. It's a very quick chicane, and it's single lane, so you can't. There's not much room for error there with the wall being right on the outside.
So I was just going to say that your new leader is Errol Nunn, but that's not the case. It is Mr. Excitement, Liam Quinn, who's still out there with going to pit with about 9 minutes to go. That's about what we thought you could push the window to.
Looks like Lundgren comes in for his stop. Hausman is in and out. So the order is starting to become a little bit more clear as time goes on. Quinn has yet to stop, and Lukel has yet to stop.
Hausman having a good run. Came out, cycled out in 6th position. And that may pick up some more with Quinn still needing to pit. That could be a top 5 for Bastian. I think you'll be happy with that.
Absolutely. And actually, where did Bastian start?
8th.
So that'll give him a few spots then. I think it was Lundgren I was thinking of that started much farther back. And actually, he's having a very good race himself. He is, I'm seeing, in 10th.
Let's go to 3rd right now. This is Vanderbilt. These are the 2 teammates still going at it, Vanderbilt and Burns. It's a real friendly pass there as Burns gets that done. These guys are just leapfrogging their way around this course.
It's going to get less friendly in about 4 or 5 laps time here. Quinn has come in for his stop. And I think I saw Lukel. Yeah, Lukel comes on in.
So with Quinn coming in,
that's everybody up at the top. In fact, that is everybody has now made their stop. So so we can get a feel for your order. Noom up in the lead. Burns, he's a little ways back in second, fighting with Vanderbilt now. So those guys are going to be duking out probably. Hausman in fourth and Cruz rounding out your top 5.
Quinn rolling, looks like he's going to come out in about 9th, just ahead of Vincent Brame. Let's call it 8th, I think Quinn's going to get out. Brame's going to be running 9th. And then look at this nice little battle that the director has on screen. That's Lundgren and Brazier running in that battle for 10th. Something to keep an eye on. Brame in 9th, Lundgren, Brazier, and then Engstrom back there. Those guys seem to find each other a lot. Yeah.
Now they're not super close right now. About the 2 closest is Lundgren and Brazier. But once we get to the backstretch, this draft could tighten things up. Meanwhile, battle for P2 still raging on. Vanderbilt overtakes Burns.
Yeah, that's the dance move right there.
Are they going to swap back, though? Here comes Burns. No, looks like he's just waiting.
I think you nailed it, Joe. I think they're just going through the motions right now until they get to probably the last lap. So we'll try to follow Num across. If things continue like they are across the start-finish line, we'll jump back to see how that battle 6 seconds back plays out.
And I tell you what, from 9th to, was it 12th? Yeah, 9th to 12th here have, in fact, tightened up coming through that final chicane. Here they are down on the front stretch to complete another lap. I think this is going to get very spicy here, looking for that top 10.
Yeah, that's a great battle. Best one on the track right now. 4-car battle with Brame, Lundgren, Brazier, and Engstrom. We stay on this battle. Let's just follow up audibly here with Hausman. We talked about him with the top 5. He actually cycled out in 4th. And how about Adrian Garcia Cruz inside the top 5? That's a really nice run from him.
I was noticing that as well. I did not expect him to get that high up. He started in 13th. So this is a fantastic run for Cruz if he can just hold on to it. He's got nobody around him right now. So right now, all he has to do is focus and hit his marks.
And then there's always the question if he's up there because he took enough fuel.
Always your favorite. Bill.
I look at this. It's my go-to drama point.
And Blixt and Tran there we can see on screen have a little bit of a battle. Remember, Tran might have some damage. I wonder if he might just want to wait behind until the end. In fact, wow, yeah, a lot of damage. He's missing the complete
Yeah, I think that might slow him down some.
Actually, might speed him up a little bit.
Yeah, he's
These
doing
things
them.
they don't offer a lot of downforce with those wings.
Car looks kind of good without those wings.
It's very very F1 circa 1982. Let's check back on that battle for 9th position. Oh my goodness, they are much closer now. Look at this. And you got Brazier taking a look coming up to 3. Oh, he gets very close behind Brame. In fact, Brame used to be the leader of this train. It's now Lundgren up in the front.
Here they go through 5. Everyone, boy, 5 has been very quiet today, Joe. We overhyped it. Everybody, I think it's the drivers knew how dangerous it was. They must have put in a lot of practice time. I don't think it's claimed too many drivers.
Yeah, people have, well, we haven't, it could have been guys in the mid and the back pack that we didn't see fall victim. But yeah, I think everybody's starting to heed the dangers of that corner.
All right, let's see how this 4-car train plays out now as they work their way under the trees, through the shadows of the back straight.
And Brame is moving backwards. Remember, he lost it to Lundgren. And now, Brazier's coming up the inside down to the final chicane.
It looks like Brazier's going to get the 1. Brame's going to surrender that when he squeezes him.
Noam had issues. Noam had issues. Who was that? Kevin Mills. Kevin Mills spun in front of him, and there was thankfully no contact, but it was very... Look at that.
What a great...
I think he almost came to a complete halt there. Look at this.
And he doesn't know where to go. Watch, the car goes right, and then it goes left. It comes right back in front of him.
Wow, that is some heads-up driving from Noom. His heart has got to be in his throat.
He just kept the car pointing down the road on the brakes until there was time to get around. So what does that mean for his lead? Well, it's down to 2 seconds.
I was just about to say that means that these guys could, if they really push, get up into the draft, but they're still pretty far back. They can't battle at this point. They have to work together, and they're going to let Burns by.
That is them working together. That's their
Yeah. Well, that's
lead
what I
plug.
meant.
Yeah.
They've gained about a tenth, though it went back up to 2 seconds. I don't think they have enough time to gun them down here.
They cross over. Look like we're going to have 2 laps for them to get there and win. That just gives the Roland Estonia a little more to focus on here. Put in a few hot laps at the very end.
And, you know, that's why you see guys like Ironome push so hard, is you don't know when those things are going to happen. If you have that much leeway, you can take advantage of those problems and really play it safe. If he was under the gun, you know, if he had a car maybe about 2 seconds behind like he does now, he may have pushed and just kept on the throttle, and that could have taken him out.
Let's go up to 6th position real quick. The wingless Tran has just gotten around Jonas Blixt. At least for now.
I guess Tran needs some Red Bull then. Nobody? Red Bull gives you wings?
Gives you wings. I got it.
All right, there we go. Crickets.
I would imagine maybe Tran's car, you might be right, Joe, might be really fast down the back straight, down the straight line speed without the wings. Probably not so fun through the twisty sections.
You know, I wish we had data on the downforce that, you know, those wings were providing. Everything I've heard traditionally is that they really don't do a whole lot. They're more for show. But maybe there could be something for saying if you could figure how to knock that wing off just by quote-unquote accident, give yourself some speed.
So there's Vanderbilt. Here we go again. Vanderbilt running in 3rd. You can just see it at the very top of the screen. That's the Roland Estonian up there as he's crossing the start-finish line right now. I believe he's going to get the white flag this time by.
Yep. There it is, and between Burns and Vanderbilt, the gloves are off.
Yeah, let's stay on this battle now for 2nd. Again, they're cousin teams. DVR Racing stands for Damage Beyond Repair. I did a little research on that one.
I think it's recognition.
Oh, Renection, okay. No, I don't think it is actually, but okay, I'll go for that.
All right, up through 5, the tricky one. Both going to nail it, both going to be pushing. And wow, look at them really taking as wide as they can go. It sounds like Cruz
Adrian
did not
Cruz.
fill enough.
Hey, did I not say he was up in 5th because maybe he short-filled? Hey, come on.
Yeah, you called it. You called it. Even a blind squirrel finds it out every once in a while.
That's going to get me a bigger slice of pie at the GSRC banquet.
Well, I'll tell you what, Eero Noom has the biggest slice of the pie right now. He is still that 2 seconds ahead, has not lost a thing to these guys.
We have time to cover this battle for 2nd real quick here as they go through the chicane. It looks like it's going to be Vanderbilt as they go side by side. We'll keep an eye on
he's not
Noom,
giving
but he's
up.
right up there.
Still side by side, but here comes Noom to the line.
We'll call our
it,
leader.
Bill.
Round 2 of Formula Neagle goes to the Roland Estonian, Errol Noom, winning here at Road Atlanta. Back for 2nd position, Vanderbilt and Burns. It looks like it's going to be Vanderbilt.
By a nose. Yeah, just around the outside. He carried the momentum. There was about a wheel width between them.
Oh, Blix is in trouble. That's the Blix and Tran got together.
Let's look at the replays to figure out what happened here.
Right at entrance of the final corner, Tran tried to take it inside. Looked like he may have got a little bit of the grass. Got up into Blix. They may be able to limp that car home, though, with some good finishing position.
Yeah, I think Blix was trying to cover it off as well as he could. He did give him a car width, but Tran, there might have been some net code, actually.
So I think what that means is I think Quinn is going to get 5th position behind Hausman. And Tran has stopped. Did he get across the start-finish line? I'm looking at Tran right now. He did. Okay.
Yeah.
So then it looks like Tran and Ingstrom going to finish
6th. Yeah.
6th and 7th. So that really didn't cost those guys too much. Lundgren, Brame, and Lukel round out.
It was
10.
Blixt, remember, who was involved in that accident. He was all the way down in 12th at the end. He didn't get it going as quickly.
Oh, he didn't.
I wonder if we're going to see some penalties from that one. Let's look at that replay for 2nd position there at the end. Look at it. Beautiful call by Vandenbelt. Just carried the speed around the outside, trusted it. That was a little bit of luck that he managed to outgun him. But it was just enough. If that start-finish line, I think, was like a couple feet farther up the road, he might have lost it. Look at that.
So great camera work from our director there. And what's interesting is the move that David Burns made there is real similar to what Tran was trying to do down inside. The 2 drivers up in 2nd and 3rd made that work. Oh, the Formula Neagle never fails to put on a good show for us. This is the Global Sim Racing Channel. What we're going to do right now is take a short break. We'll come back, run down the entire grid, driver interviews, and close up shop. Back in just a few. Welcome back to the Global Sim Racing Channel. Bill Soupson, Joe Peak with you, bringing you the Formula Neagle Round 2 from Road Atlanta. Let's run down your final standings. 2 in a row for Aero Num, the Season 7 champion, on a roll so far here in Season 9. The Fan Belt, Johan Vanderbilt in second place, able to nip out cousin teammate for DBR, David Burns, for third. Bastian Hausman, Mama Jean Racing driver, up there in fourth position. Mr. Excitement, Liam Quinn, a great run from him, finishing in the top 5. Tuan Tran had some excitement, lost his front wing, brings it home in 6th. Mikkel Ingstrom, 7th. 8th, 9th, and 10th go to Joachim Lundgren, Vincent Bream, and Eric Lukel. Joe?
Then the rest of that battle we saw there at the end as well. Scott Brazier in 11th with Jonas Blixt, unfortunately finishing 12th after he tangled with Tuan Tran at the very final corner. Rodrigo Capoleto Ferreira in 13th, Henrik Tobias Bergman in 14th, and Frederick Neptune finishing in 15th. Cooper Collier finishes in the 16th position with Damian Noble in 17th. Rain Otani, he finished in 18th. We didn't get a whole lot of screen time for him, but top 20. Michael Parts comes home in 19th, and then the Bulldog, sadly because of a lack of fuel, finishes in 20th, Bill.
Blackjack position goes to Richard Katz, Kevin Mills behind him, Michael Key and Pierce Cockey go 23 and 24th. M. Van Kampenhout in the quarter century mark. Mark Faguras, 26th position. 27th and 28th goes to Adam Olenson and Jean-Christopher Baudier. Ricardo Lard had that trouble, going to finish in 29th and 30th. Luigi Griffini.
Jan Brezina finishes in 31st with Adam Bradshaw in 32nd. Wojciech Podizek, not a good day for him, all the way down in 33rd. Johan Hallberg as well, 34th position. Bad points day for these guys. Thomas Kick comes home in 35th with Richard Cullum in 36th, Chester Thompson in 37th, and Rob Van Itteking in 38th. And that rounds out our field, Bill.
Okay, we're going to let Joe Peak talk to the teammate of Scott Brazier for Bush Pink Racing Pink. That would be Errol Noem. Joe, go ahead.
Hey, Errol, we've got a little bit of echo on your mic, unfortunately, but we saw you have a typical race. You got it up to the lead and then basically kind of swapped back and forth with Tran, and didn't seem like you really had a whole lot of excitement until about 3 laps from the end there with that spin in front of you.
No, it was all excitement. Yeah, from the beginning to the end, especially in the beginning. It was so close. I don't know what we are doing there with Don.
Well, it looked relatively calm because you guys seemed to be pretty orderly, swapping the lead back and forth. So are you saying that you wanted to be up in the front? You weren't just willingly giving that away?
No. The turn 1 and turn 2, it was too close there. Many times.
That's true. Yeah, you guys had a few side-by-side moments through turns 1 and 3 there.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like you got another championship on track starting off with the first rounds, giving you 2 wins out of 2. Are you thinking about that, a third crown, or is that not even entering your mind yet?
Yeah, I don't know. Too early to tell. I'm trying my best.
Well, your best is doing very well with a second win and the second round of the season. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's Aero Noom Bill, our winner for today here at Road Atlanta.
Okay, let's see if we can bring in our second place driver here today, and that would be the Fan Belt, Johan Vanderbilt. Of course, Johan is a driver for DBR Team Talent, of course, teamed up with Liam Quinn. They had a running now about 6th and 7th in the standings. A good day for these guys. Johan, congratulations on the second place. Boy, David Burns gave you everything you could hope for.
David Burns did amazing, and I'm just lucky that I got P2, because if you look at raw pace, David was 2 or 3 tenths per lap quicker. So personally, it feels like I stole that second place, and with all due respect, that feels extra good.
The back half of the race, was that pretty much cousin teams working together for DBR? They're the swapping positions, or were you guys really fighting?
No, we were working together, like you said. We lost some time to the top 3. So we started working together, not necessarily to catch towards the front guys, but more personally, I felt like to create a gap to the people behind us, so we could at least finish before P5. But yeah, then an incident happened. What I heard on the comms between Tuan and Rickard, that bumped us up 2 places. So then we were fighting for podium positions. And then when Iro had a problem with the back marker, then we were like, oh yes, just like we he lost just too little for us to really catch up, because then we could have had a freeway battle for the win at the end. But yeah, it was very good, and we just worked together basically all race, and then 2 laps for the end, we basically said like, or we didn't really say it, but I had the feeling like, okay, this is enough, and now I want to stay behind you for 1 lap extra instead of making that switch back again. So I would be behind him, and I would have to draft on the back straight in the last lap.
Joe and I were talking when Num had his issue, when the back marker got loose in front of him, and Num basically almost had to stop on the track. Maybe another half second would have been enough for you guys to get in the tow.
Yep. Yeah. We were unlucky, I wouldn't say, because Iro was the unlucky one in this whole incident, but we were unlucky enough to make that, yeah. But yeah, even if that would have happened, that would have been incredibly unfair, because there was only one person who deserved to win tonight, and that was Iro.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations. It's this makes up a little bit for the opening round.
Oh, for sure. And I just saw the standings. I had a quick peek, and it looks like 4 or 5 people are having 17 points. So I'm tied for 3rd at the moment. So I'm quite happy with that.
There you go. Hey, congratulations. The fan belt, Johan van der Velde, your 2nd place driver today. Thanks, Johan.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Joe, who you got?
We've got our 3rd place finisher that got pipped to the line, David Burns, waiting in the wings. And David, tell us a little bit about that last battle at the end. What was your strategy coming up to that last chicane? Did you want to be in front or behind? Oh, well, it seems like we might be having some mic problems with David.
We'll tell you what, let's bring in our 4th place driver. We'll bring in Bastian Houseman, and maybe David can get us work on his mic there. We'll see if we can get him. Let's go down to Mama Jean driver Bastian Houseman. Nice top 5 finish for you. 4th today, Bastian. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you very much. I didn't expect it at all at the start of the race, so it's nice.
Yeah, you started 8th, and you just quietly worked your way up there. Then there was some attrition. You had a nice pit stop, and you found yourself a 4th spot.
Yeah, well, the pit stop was a bit bad because someone was slow in front of me. I had to
we saw that.
Move around him. But I had a little technical glitch I only found out in the qualification. So when I corrected it, I didn't have the confidence in the car to really pick up the pace with the other top drivers.
You know, earlier season 6, season 7, we saw you much closer to the front. Lately, the last few seasons, you've been down a little bit. Is that a case of just you're not putting in the time, or has the talent picked up? What? It's nice to see you back up front again.
Yeah, I changed a lot of things on my setup, so I'm really settling in and getting back to the old level again.
Well, congratulations on the 4th place. You had a good week for Mama Jean Racing. 2 drivers inside the top 10. Congratulations.
Yes, thanks. I'm proud to perform good for Mama Jean Racing. And I want to thank Michael Key for being a very good backmarker. He's really getting out of the way really good.
You know what? It's funny you bring that up. We mentioned it on the broadcast. He had this to stay with you for a minute. There was 1 minute where he had to get out of the way of 8 cars going by early on in the race, and he did a really good job of doing it.
Right, nice.
Okay, Bastian, congratulations. And let's go, Joe. Do you want to try one more shot there, see if you can get David?
I think he disappeared here. So, yeah, looks like he left to go get a croissant or something somewhere. So, oh, wait. I see David reconnecting. Looks like he's trying again. All right, let's see if we can bring him in, see what we can do. David, can you hear us? Oh, that looks like it's the mic is still not working, unfortunately. All right, well, I think that's all, Bill, so why don't we close it up for today?
Let's do that. We'd like to thank everybody at the Absolute Beginner League for contracting with GSRC. and getting us to broadcast this. They're good guys at the Absolute Beginner League. We'd like to thank, now this is the important one, we'd like to thank ilovesimracing.co.uk. I Love Sim Racing is a website where you can find quality-made sim racing button boxes, custom made to your own specifications. I lost my place in the script here. Quality custom made to your specifications. Make your sim racing experience more realistic and fun. It helps you execute all those important in-race vehicle settings and pit stop changes. You know, maybe we can get one for who ran out of gas there? Was it Cruz? Yeah, Cruz probably. Hopefully he can get one of those things. That might help him there. Gives you the extra edge. Stay on script, Bill. All at a very affordable and competitive price, working closely with you. It's their goal to create the exact button box layout you've been looking for, figuring out what it is that you want and what it is that you don't want, resulting in a box just for you that nobody else has. Your button box will not only work on your PC, but on your PlayStation 4 platform as well. ilovesimracing.co.uk, the home for your personal created button boxes.
Maybe they can make a button box to help Bill with the scripts. But
yes.
Thanks.
Read your part.
Thanks to the company's equipment and software that you see on the screen now, we use on our broadcast. The original music you've heard on today's broadcast is thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde. See the screen for how to contact, each of them. Next up for Formula Neagle will be in 2 weeks, October 2nd, for round 3 from Imola. And GSRC will be there to bring you all the action.
If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at www.globalsimracingchannel.com, along with archived races and upcoming broadcasts. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel. Finally, on behalf of my mate Joe Peak, our director Amjad Yaman, our camera artist Dougie Beard, I'd like to thank all of you for watching. And with that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.